If I can have everyone's attention, please. If you are speaking this evening, we ask that you please sign in. We also ask that you speak along the podium. You can go anywhere in the front podium here today. If you do have to present any material, whether it be elevations or any type of renderings, they have to face down, keep them down, have them facing us so it can be picked up by the cameras. If you have to speak with one another or have any matters to discuss with one another, please take it in the hallway. It interferes with our opportunity to hear those that are speaking this evening. We're going to start this evening's meeting with a motion to open.
I make a motion that we open this meeting of the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation on May 14th, 2018.
Motion by Christina. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor? Aye. Welcome to the May 14th, 2018 meeting of the Architectural Board of Review and Historic Preservation. My name is Curtis Highsmith, and I am your chair. I'd like to introduce our panel for this evening. We have Rob Colburn, Christina Redding, Susan Stevenson, along with Jeff Broadheap. I'd like to welcome our historic consultant, Zach Studenroth, our legal counsel, Bo Robinson, and Antoinette, as well as Charlie. We always welcome you. We're going to start this evening's meeting with the minutes from April 23rd, 2018. Did everyone have the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Were there any changes, corrections that needed to be discussed?
Did you get mine?
I did.
Okay.
I did forward. I think I did forward to that too.
Okay.
As long as you got them and where they were incorporated.
Yep.
Were there changes that needed?
There were a couple small changes. I don't have them with me,
Okay.
unfortunately, but I can read them if you'd like. But
Not necessary if everyone had the opportunity. You sent it to the entire board, correct? The modifications? Did everyone see his
yes,
changes?
I did.
Yes, you
Okay.
I did send them back to
Did
everyone.
anyone have any questions, issues with the changes that were submitted by Rob? All right. Therefore, the motion would be to approve the minutes from April 23rd, subject to the changes or adjustments from Rob. I make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rob. All in favor? Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan? And Jeff?
Aye.
We're going to go into signs, and first application sign.
First application is for Lettieri Construction, and it is to do a combination sign for Lettieri and an architect.
Is the applicant present?
I think it's okay.
I'm assuming this is a contractor's sign, but it's contractor's sign with the architect. So I'm assuming this is the,
I believe he previously had approval for his contractor sign, and they've asked to make it a combination sign now with the architect underneath, which is why the architect has
we've
been-
normally typically not had, this is a plaque or sign that's going to be on construction, I'm assuming. We usually don't have combination signs. The yard starts looking a little billboardish. However, see if the board members have any issue with what's being proposed today. Jeff, do you have any issues with the sign?
It's a clean sign, so
Yeah, I think one's better than two in this
Okay.
case.
I'm fine with it.
All right, any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the combo sign for Lettieri Construction and the Branahan Architect.
This motion is by Christina. Is there a
I
second?
second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And aye as well. Next application, please.
The next application is for Spur Innovations at 7 Powell Avenue.
Hello, everybody.
Aye.
DeVito with Spur Innovations for
First name? Just for the record.
Frank. What we previously set in, we resent to the village. The building department did approve it. We made some copies I'll send over. Diane told me to let you know that it is approved, but she couldn't print them out for me to bring copies today. It was,
What do you mean that it is approved? I'm not sure what you mean by
well,
approved.
they allow, with the board's approval, it is permitted by the building department?
You're saying that the code? You're saying it?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
The building department looks at it for the size and things, and then we
Correct.
look at it for the design. Is that right?
We have this in file, so is this also being proposed? Okay, so you're removing the ground sign.
Correct.
You want to replace it with the building sign. Is that what you're saying? So this is no longer. You want to propose the sign above the building.
Correct.
And what's the material of the sign that's being proposed?
So it is a very light ghost paint that kind of matches the existing bricks that were never painted up there, so we're trying to make it look like it was there for 100 and something years. Not jump out at you.
Any lanterns, any lighting?
No, the lighting that is previously there underneath the sign, doesn't even light up the sign, is the only light staying. And that's the old warehouse light that's been there since I can remember. So we're not lighting up the sign.
This appears to me to be at an angle. Is that intentional, or is that just a
That was the only picture we
Photoshop?
could get, and then
Okay.
we plugged it on with a Photoshop.
So it's meant to be level, though?
Correct,
The wording
yes.
will be level?
Christine, any comments?
No, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting.
Interesting. Susan?
I think it's cool. I've got nothing bad to say.
Jeff?
I haven't, since I haven't seen it and
Yeah.
looked at the building in that perspective, just so
Well, the other
they can
one,
poll the other folks first.
Okay. My only question would be whether it, I mean, I understand I'm not obviously questioning your conversation or discussion. However, it has not been presented to us whether the sign is legal. So that's the only question I would have. I have no issue with the
She couldn't
design.
stamp it because we couldn't print it.
I understand that, but when we're looking at a file, we're looking for the completeness of the file. It's not that I'm questioning your integrity, it's just that that would be my only challenge with the application. In terms of the design overall, I have no issues.
Fantastic.
So I'm confused, well, not that confused, but, so you're not painting the brick itself?
So we're not painting the brick to match the existing. This is the old, where they, I guess, removed the old McLaughlin electric sign.
So the
There's currently bare brick there.
the lettering is going on the brick itself?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
And it's going to be a sort of whitewash like this?
It's a
or-
whitewash, like a ghost paint.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's funky.
No issues?
Very old looking, very,
Funky.
Funky.
It is.
Is there any public comment on the application?
Yeah. The train has nothing to say.
Sorry?
The trains have nothing to say. Isn't it right by the trains?
Oh, okay. All right, I'm not going to hold up the application for that. I think it's I doubt, I would rather have had some more information on it. However, I don't think that it rises to a level where it should be questioned.
Thank
And
you.
therefore, I'll move forward with the application, or I would feel comfortable moving forward with the application. Jeff, any motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the sign for spur renovations. I like it.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Motion's by Rob, it was seconded by Susan. All in favor. Susan?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Good luck.
I thought it was kind of not, you know, it's that funky old building.
Next application, please.
The next application is True Fusion at 15 Hill Street. This is for a storefront sign.
Person.
Good evening, members of the board. I believe Chairman Highsmith has a copy of the sign. Would you prefer it laid on the table, or would you want to hold it?
You lay it flat on the table?
Face toward us.
That's the face.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Grant Reiner from InterScience Research Associates on behalf of the applicant. Address is 36 Nugent Street, Southampton, New York. True Fusion is proposing to put a sign above the unit that they're going to be occupying this summer. It's where the Pure Bar Yoga Studio was before. It's just a physical fitness type of use, replacing an old physical fitness type of use. And the sign meets the village requirements. Black background with white lettering to match the white building.
Very generic. I don't have an issue with the font. Any additional lantern or lighting being proposed?
No, whatever's on the building is going to stay there.
Jeff, any comments?
It's a nice sign.
Susan?
No objection.
Christina?
Nope, I think it's good.
Rob?
No.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the sign on Hill Street, the storefront sign for True Fusion.
Motion by Christina, is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan, all in favor. Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff? I'm an aye as well. Thank you. Next application,
Next
please.
application is High Tech Properties for a sign at 192 Hampton Road. Now, just note the photograph that was included is that it will match a sign that exists across the street a little closer into the village, pretty much exactly.
Hi, Denise Venchel, Hampton Signs, high tech.
This is going to be a permanent sign
freestanding.
that's placed on, to replace or
No, it's a new sign.
an entirely new sign? So you're showing this as a...
Showing as an example of what he
Example.
wants to do.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, very good.
Exactly the same.
And below will be the actual address hanging, just like
Yes.
it's being proposed?
Yeah.
Excellent. No additional landing, any projected lighting or anything to the sign?
There's a possibility down the road of doing LEDs up inside it, but we haven't gone down that road yet.
LEDs inside of?
Yeah,
So-
just a light strip. But we're not proposing that right now.
Okay. But if you do, you would come back before the
Of
board?
course.
All right. Susan, any comments?
No, I think it's fine.
Christina?
No, I'm fine with it.
Rob?
Nope, I appreciate using the existing sign as a guide. It's a tasteful
And
sign.
no objections.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the sign for high-tech properties at 192 Hampton Road.
I second the motion.
Motion's by Jeff, second by Susan. All in favor? Jeff? Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Okay.
All right, and I'm an aye as well. Thank you.
I think I'm going to grow a mustache and a beard, then it really confuse you.
No, I go back, I'm just rotating it, so it's not, people say I'm always
Oh, going that
calling the
way?
same people in the same
okay.
Well,
direction.
you don't have much
Next
choice in here.
application, please.
The next application is for RKF, real estate sign to be located at 48 and 50 Main Street. It actually appears to be two signs.
I think it's already appearing.
Two signs, two different building addresses.
The record reflects same presenter from the prior application. Name again?
Denise Hampton Signs.
So you're putting a sign above the doorway itself,
Yes.
and then another one on this side. You have to give me direction, north, south, east, or west side of the building.
It would be the south side of the,
North side.
North
north
side.
side, north side, right.
North side. Okay.
North.
And that will be placard on the side of the building itself?
Yes.
Same size as what's going on over the...
Exactly.
So the dimensions are 31 and a quarter by 13 and a half.
Yes.
But this is on, I don't think it's appropriate to have the phone number.
Well, that's the question.
Oh, okay,
That's-
sorry,
that's
jumped the
okay.
gun.
That's all right. That just-
It's on a doorway, you know.
You have an issue with the telephone number?
Yeah.
Okay. And board members, do you have any other comments about the application? Do you have issues with the...
I'm not crazy about the location of the sign on the north of the building. It's very prominent for a long stretch of the road. It's up pretty high, looks to be about 8 feet, 9 feet.
It's up higher so it doesn't get graffitied.
It doesn't get who?
Graffitied or scratched.
Is that something that happens in the village a lot that I'm missing?
This is the concern of the owner of the building.
Oh, okay.
And also, if you look at the size, 13 inches high by 31 on the side of the scale of that building, it actually is tiny.
All right. Rob, do you have an issue with the telephone on the sign?
I don't. I mean, ideally, for everyone involved, this will be a short-lived sign, and the spaces will get rented. So I don't have to, no.
Christina?
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Jeff?
I do. The doorway sign, I think, would be cleaner without the telephone number. I'm not sure why you need a telephone number.
They're not from around here, so it would be,
But-
you'd be just Googling RKF and you wouldn't come up
Is
with
that their
anything.
office or that's for rent?
No.
Buildings for sale.
This is a for sale sign.
Yes.
So what they're doing is they're posting, well, not a for rent sign on the building. So that's what they're doing. They're advertising.
So this
the
is
spaces
a
available.
temporary sign.
Temporary sign,
So now
yes.
I think that's okay, but I don't think it's okay on the side then. Why are we doing that?
It's two different spaces,
It's two
right?
different spaces.
They're for rent?
It's a very small sign.
There's space available. So no longer putting them in the window saying space available. You're
Right,
going to put it in
right.
the building. It's short term. It's not something that's going to be there long term. But we have an issue with, not that it does matter. No, it does matter. We do have an issue with leasing up space in the village of Southampton. I think just for purposes of making this available, we should make it a accommodation for this particular application.
Okay, I disagree.
Yeah, I'm good. Again, I was under the impression that it was a permanent sign.
No,
So-
no.
So you in favor or not?
I'm okay with both.
Christine, any issues?
In an ideal world for me, I'd say move the sign on the north side of the building down 2 feet, and if it gets graffitied, come back to us. That would be an ideal world for me, because I just feel it's too prominent, and a lot of people use the bank and walk in that part of the town, and it just...
I don't think the argument, you're going to lose me on the argument about graffiti, so it's just not something that's customary and common in the community. I don't see a lot of graffiti on village buildings.
I personally had graffiti on the side of my building, so we can move it down if you want. I don't, that's fine.
I don't know, does anyone feel strongly about that?
That's,
I think it's prominent where it is. I agree with you on that. And then I was coming back off of it because it was temporary. But if you and Curtis think that coming down a couple of feet would make it more appealing, yeah, I'm with that.
Public comment?
Any public comments on the application?
Should we be concerned about the height of that sign?
Big decisions.
I don't think they care. They're waiting for their applications.
Okay. Well, that's
Basically, they're saying, can you have it?
Curtis.
Is it a possibility to reduce it?
absolutely.
Okay, so-
Just tell me how high you want it.
So the approval will be subject to the, lowering the sign.
I would say by at least a foot. If it can be reduced a foot or more, I'm more comfortable with it.
No problem. Thank you.
Motion to approve the application with provision to lower the, say, northern sign,
Northern
1
sign.
foot.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for RKF Real Estate with the provision that they move the sign on the northern side down 1 foot.
Yes, motion
1
by
foot.
Christina. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Rob. All in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Yay.
Jeff?
Aye.
Just to let you know that Susan was a nay and I'm an aye. Next application, please.
The next application is for Quaker Marine Supply, listed at 18 Jobs Lane for a storefront sign.
Is the applicant present? So they're proposing a black and white sign. I'm assuming the font is accurate because they're photocopied on the building itself. It was signed off by code enforcement. Do you have any issues with regards to the?
First thing I'd say is I think that's on South Main Street. I think that storefront is not on Jobs Lane. I
That's
think it's-
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'm not crazy about it.
Okay.
I think the design, if it's a logo, if that's part of their brand identity, I'd want to hear that and be convinced of it. But it has an odd appearance. And
Well, the applicant's not here, and so the applicant should present their application. Therefore, since they're not, you have the discretion of requesting them to make their case. Jeff, any comments?
Yeah, I'm with Rob on that. It is on South Main Street. It's on a building that has just one sign, which is the Thomas Moeller Gallery, which is long and narrow. It's about
Todd Miller.
Todd Miller.
Merrill.
And it's opposite the Presbyterian Church, so it's a quiet corner facing that way, and this is somewhat garish. And so I think a better sign, and if they were here, I'd share it with them, would be to match the dimensions of the Todd Merrill
Merrill.
sign.
Susan, comments?
I didn't like it, but, so I would hope they would explain it. It seems big, actually, for the space.
I
Christine?
think it's inappropriate for the building, and I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it goes there
All right,
at all.
so we want clarification from the
Right.
applicant to, you don't want to assume whether that's a part of their logo. I would also want to know more information, as always. Is there any additional lighting being proposed? What's the material of the sign being used? Really incomplete application until we hear that information. Any public comments on the application? All right, so we're going to motion to adjourn the application, and we would want to get clarification from the applicant, possible.
Make a motion that we adjourn the storefront sign application for Quaker Marine Supply and ask for clarification from the applicant.
I second that motion.
Motion by Christina, was second by Rob. All in favor? Jeff?
Aye. Thank you.
Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Next application, please.
Next application is for Northeast Masonry and Landscaping for a contractor sign.
The applicant present.
We are popular.
Okay, so It's a contractor sign. It's like a landscaping company. I'm assuming this is their logo. They're not here, but we have the name of the company. We have a tree. We have a telephone number. We have a website, and we know that they are licensed and insured.
And the phone number, right?
Phone number. So, not having more direction from the applicant. If the applicant's not here to present their application, I have issue. There's some, I would want this reduced, either the elimination of the license or reduction of the name itself. It just looks like a very broad and very large sign is proposed, and because it's a neon green with a background, it really emphasizes the design. Jeff, do you have any questions?
I'm with you 100%. I was going to say nix the license and insured. I don't think it's necessary in today's world.
Susan?
I had some objections myself, so yes.
Christine?
I agree. I mean, make the
I
bottom
think-
part, make the phone number a little smaller.
Smaller.
Try and get
Even things up.
it down.
Rob?
I don't have problems with the sign, but it would be nice if it was a little simpler, maybe eliminating one of the 3 lines at the bottom.
Any public comment on the application? Again, sorry the applicant's not here to present their application and for some of the changes that this board would request. So there'll be a motion to,
I'll make a motion to adjourn the application of Northeast Masonry and Landscaping for further clarification.
motion by Rob. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Christina. All in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I as well. Next application, please.
Next application is for a contractor sign for JNS Development.
There's a lot of signs going on.
Hi, my name's Anthony from Fisher Signs.
Is this a temporary sign placard on a parcel of work that you're doing?
Yes.
So the name of the company, development, telephone number. What exactly is the background? Is it blue? Is it navy? Is it
It's
gray?
kind of close to the color of Rob's jacket, actually. It's like a dark bluish gray.
So would you like to cut a swatch from this jacket?
They included a color swatch, but
It's okay. And will there be, is it wire, is it post? Is
it's 2 1.5-inch white aluminum posts attached to the side of the sign.
I have no
Rob.
objection. I think it's very tasteful.
Christina?
No, I think it's great.
Handsome. I like
Yep,
it.
smart sign.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the sign, the contractor sign for JNS Development.
Motion by Christina, is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor, Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Tricky.
Next application, please.
The next application is for the Southampton Soap Company, and this is for a storefront sign, and I'll get you the address in a moment, at
30 Jagger
30
Lane.
Jagger Lane.
Is the applicant present? Please step forward.
Deborah O'Shaughnessy, Southampton Soap.
Okay, that's different than this, so is it going to be a beige background with?
Oh, no, sorry, that's all I had in my printer.
All right, so the sign itself is like a powder blue background?
Yeah, it's
You have your
ombre,
logo, and I'm
dark
assuming the
light.
little shell there with
Correct.
that's your logo?
Yes,
Soap company, and it says at the cottage of Jagger Lane.
a cottage on Jagger Lane. It's the only cottage on the block.
The sign itself is going to be placed on,
There's a pre-existing sign there. I submitted a photograph.
It's the
I see that.
pet thrift shop.
I just don't have it.
Oh, okay.
Typically, what
Sorry.
part of the application is that you show it being either placard or stationed on the building itself, so we know exactly where it's going to be placed. Did you submit photos with
I
that?
did to Mr. Talbot. I sent him an email with those photographs.
Okay, it's nothing in the, nothing.
No.
It's fine,
Okay.
but I just wanted to see if it was part of the application.
Is the current sign that size?
It's 2 by 8.
Yep. And that's the same size? as the
Correct.
current.
2 by 8. See, but this is what bothered me. You see, you gave it to Talbot, but he didn't sign it.
Okay.
I mean, I want to push forward the application, but I don't have a picture, nor do I have it signed by the code enforcement that it complies. So it's kind of out of compliance for me to actually move forward because I don't know if this sign actually complies.
Well, can we approve it if because I don't know. I feel like she's starting a new business.
I want to move it forward just as much as you do.
Isn't it replacing the sign that was there?
It is replacing the sign
Right,
that's
but they
there,
don't
what's
have a
being proposed.
photograph.
I just don't have a sign. And if you have a question, you have to come forward because they can pick it up on.
Can we approve something, Bo, conditional upon the building department saying that it,
Did you not have a depiction of the sign
We have the sign.
Yes,
with you
sir.
here tonight?
Well, I do, but it's just the design because I submitted a photograph via email.
How does the sign different from what you have?
It's not. It's the same
Well, then
exact
why don't you
sign.
submit that as the sign, as the,
No, we have the sign. We don't show it on the building, and it wasn't signed off by code
Just the
enforcement.
Kristen sign.
Freestanding, isn't it, on that thing
It is.
outside?
It's
where our-
pre-existing, so we would just be resurfacing it.
subject to the confirmation of the building department then?
I don't have an objection. Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
Make a
Subject to
motion that we
confirmation
approve
from the building
sign
department.
For Southampton Soap Company on Jagger Lane.
Subject to confirmation from code
Subject to
enforcement
confirmation from the building department
that it is in compliance.
that is in compliance.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
a motion by Christina. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor? Rob?
Aye.
Christina? Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And an aye as well.
Good luck.
Good luck. Congratulations.
Do you want a photograph on here? If I find a photograph on my phone, would that suffice?
Talk to the building department and they'll tell you how to
That's okay.
complete the file.
We've closed it.
Thanks.
Next application, please.
The next application is for Sea Green Design at 68 Jobs Lane for a storefront sign.
Shannon Willie Seagreen Designs. We have a photo of the sign on the building.
Okay. Now, the sign itself is covering the entire top eve, correct?
Yes, yeah, there's a space
And so
already on the
it's
building.
all-
Yep.
All, and the color itself is,
It's palladium blue. Just in case, I did bring the paint chart so that it matches my logo. It's actually this color here.
The first one.
okay. Any
Same color as the one you have up.
Yeah, yeah, it matches my logo.
any lanterns or lighting
No.
design? Nothing added to that? It's just the sign itself, painted, no telephone numbers, no websites?
Nope, exactly the way you see it there.
Okay. Jeff, any comments?
It's fine.
Looks nice.
Christina? Rob?
Let me just take another quick look, because I went by today. You're keeping the sign, the logo in the window?
Yeah,
as well?
because it's street level, it's nice to be able to see that. And then this is more for as you're driving by. So that was my intention, my hope, anyway.
My first reaction was that it's pretty big, but there is an existing sort of plinth there for... that
Exactly, and that was
looks
why
like
we
it's-
wanted to do it, because if we take the
Cover it.
color, and then it's kind of offset with all the white inside there, so we just figured if we filled it with that, that would be...
I
I
don't
thought
have
it looked pretty nice.
Don't have any issues.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the storefront sign for Sea Green Design on Jobs Lane.
Motion by Christina. Is there a
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor? Rob?
Aye.
Christina? Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
9-9. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next application, please.
The next application is James Purse at 45 Main Street for a storefront sign.
Ooh, I love this one.
Okay, that was a little biased.
We like the T-shirts. Okay. We'll have to have a little fun, aren't we?
Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs, representing James Purse.
Yes.
Okay, just black lettering on the building.
Black lettering,
Size, dimensions of the lettering itself?
10 inches on the letters, three-dimensional individual letters on the
Individual
building.
letters. But there's also going to be a decal on the window?
There is, yes.
Any lighting, any lantern, anything proposed?
Are they set out from the building, or are they...
They're going to be against the building.
The letters themselves is
Yes.
not like a block behind
They
them?
do, no.
Any further questions? Christina?
Nope.
Susan?
No, I think it's good looking.
Jeff?
Same here?
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the storefront sign on Main Street for James Purse.
Motion by Christina.
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor? Jeff?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you. Next
The next
application.
application is for Downey at 36 Hampton Road. This is for a storefront sign. That-
Denise, Hampton Signs.
Is this also individual sign, or is it?
Individual letters, black acrylic on the top, and polished copper metal letters for the
Nice.
little copy underneath.
Nice. Very nice. No lantern, no lighting schemes? Nothing
Whatever's
added?
there now.
They're just there now.
Is that the one that had all those things in the window, too?
Yeah. I don't know whether, those were not approved, but they're not
No
going to be for
kidding.
us.
Oh, okay, so what, we just look the other way?
You can go to the code enforcement and
I'm
ask.
not, okay. It just seemed a little busy. But not that your sign's nice.
Okay. Jeff?
It's, yes, nice.
Christina?
Nice is good.
Rob?
I agree with Susan. The proposed sign is nice and the rest is busy. But not your issue.
Thank you.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the storefront sign on Hampton Road for Downey.
Motion by Christina, is there a
I
second?
second the motion.
Second by Susan, all in favor? Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Next application, please.
Next application is for Stubborn Real Estate. This is for their signage at 71 Hill Street for their office.
Okay, so it's a, again, we have the applicant for
Hampton
the,
Signs, Denise Fenchel.
it's a navy blue background with gold lettering.
Yes,
Name of the company is just Real Estate, no telephone number, no website.
nothing, as you see it.
It's placard on the actual building itself. Is it placed anywhere else on the building or site?
No, that's their only space.
And there's no additional lighting or anything being proposed?
No?
Rob, any questions?
No, none.
Christina?
No.
Susan? Jeff? Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the storefront sign on Hill Street for Stubbins Real Estate.
I second the motion.
Motion by Christina, second by Susan. All in favor, Jeff?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
And an aye as well. Next application, please.
Next application is for Maison Vivienne at 136 Main Street. This is for a freestanding posted sign.
Okay?
Stacy Menzer, Hampton Signs.
Okay. It's replacing the, well,
Was something.
so the actual color is it black background?
It is
with
not, it's a navy background with copper lettering.
Okay, because that's, now, there were two colors here, so I didn't know if it was,
It is not, it's a navy with,
it's navy.
with
okay.
copper.
With the
Very
copper.
popular, this Navy, evidently, huh?
French restaurant.
Yeah. Will there be any projected lighting to the sign itself?
This is the freestanding sign?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to make actually one adjustment on that. What they would like to do is have Southampton written underneath.
You want to submit that?
Just like that.
Is that their full name or anything? I don't, you're adding Southampton, is there a purpose or reason?
I believe they might have a different location, so they wanted to be able to distinguish.
Well, they're in Southampton, you think they wouldn't be able to? I'm trying to be funny, I just,
Oh, okay.
board members, do you have any issue with the Southampton be added to the sign?
No.
That's fine.
No?
I just wondering about the posts. Will they be painted or will they be kept rustic as they are now?
We will paint them.
Not resting.
They will be painted.
They'll be painted
They will be
white.
painted. And they'll
White
be
or-
painted white.
I have no objections.
Christina?
No.
Any public comment on the application? Okay, the application would be with the addition of Southampton. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the freestanding sign for Maison Vivienne with the addition of the word Southampton at the bottom of it.
Motion by Rob, is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you.
Okay, there's another one, though.
There is. So the next application is for Maison Vivienne for a storefront sign, an applied sign on the building.
Can you put the paper clip so they can stay together?
Yep.
Okay. So this is, if you have to give me direction with regards to its position, it's north, south, east, west of the building?
It's
Okay.
North.
It's like,
it's where that art was, right?
no.
It's in the courtyard,
Yeah.
just to the left center as you face it from Main Street, right?
Exactly.
It's the north side.
Oh, it's on the north side? Do they still have that art that was plastered up on there that you can tell what it was?
I don't know if they'd be
Oh,
willing
okay.
to that. They put these very large hedges up there where no
They
one can
did.
see.
Yeah, so, hey, what are we
I
doing?
question how that was installed without coming here for a landscape approval, but it's not your problem. Any additional lanterning or lighting being proposed? It's the same navy with the gold lettering,
Copper.
copper lettering.
So is that a light?
That's pre-existing.
Oh, okay, that's up to the camera, isn't it?
Any public comment on the application? Anything further of the board?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the storefront sign for Maison Vivien, including the word Southampton at the bottom.
Motion by Rob, is there a second?
A second.
Second by Susan, all in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next application, please.
Next application is for Joseph Silvestro Construction for a contractor sign.
Lorraine Silvestro?
This is a contractor sign on the site that you're, I'm assuming, doing work?
Yes.
All right. There's a lot of space above, like a lot of spare space above. I didn't know, is there something else going to be added
No.
later on?
Sometimes they put the building permit on it.
They're showing it hung
I know.
underneath. All right. I just didn't know why there was so much vacant space.
It's part of the design.
Sign itself, no issue, black background, construction, telephone number. There's no website.
Right.
There's no email address or anything in addition.
No.
I like it.
Christina?
I like it.
No problem.
Jeff?
Smart sign.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the contractor sign for Joseph Silvestro Construction.
I second the motion.
Motion by Christina, was second by Susan. All in favor, Jeff?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next application, please.
Next application is for Brown Harris Stevens, and this is for a real estate sign.
Good evening. Doug Malterno.
Okay. You have your name, you have Brown Harris Stevens, you have a first sale, and then you have the website for the organization and telephone
And
number,
a
right?
phone number.
I'm sorry?
And the phone number.
And the phone number. You had something?
Yeah. Didn't we just do a Brown Harris Stevens?
About a
where you
year ago,
said that
correct.
was blue, that was completely different from this, that you came, did you?
Yep.
And you said that that was the branding of Brown Harris Stevens?
I don't know if I said that last time, but the company's undergoing an overall rebranding, which is why they're proposing a new sign.
Well, it's like
The first
2
branding
weeks.
didn't work.
I know, it was 3 weeks ago,
No,
3
it's
weeks
a while ago.
No, it wasn't, was it?
Probably, it was a year. I'm telling you,
Okay,
was
it
about a
doesn't
year ago.
matter, but it was recently, is that correct?
It was about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
And so this is a sign that you would use for any property listed here in the village for sale.
Wow, I find it kind of rash.
Okay. Jeff?
I think there's a lot of white space, so I think that works for it. I'm not sure that if I was the graphic designer, that I would include the Brown Harris Stevens in the right corner. I think it's actually more powerful if you have the for sale. If you eliminate the Brown Harris Stevens in the right corner, which is redundant to begin with, I think you're going to have a more impactful sign graphically.
Rob?
I mean, I agree with Jeff. I don't know, I don't want to get into the brand identity work that your team is doing, but it's a busy sign, and that BHS appears 3 different times. But I appreciate the white space, so I'm a little bit ambivalent.
Rob, I mean, it is a busy sign, and there's a lot of mention of Brown Harris Stevens, but it does have some nice white space on it.
I honestly think it's brash. I don't know what else to say. If you took out the website or something to undo some of the Brown Harris, but honestly, people probably would want to go to the website to look up.
I think the problem is that the website is the company name, so I don't know how you can have the company name
Why don't you
with
nix
the
the,
website without being
why don't you
repetitive.
nix the
in the
Brown Harris in the right-hand corner? I mean, if you were giving out a business card, that would make a decent business card. And if it had your name on it in place of for sale, it'd be an interesting
I
business
think if you
card.
do that, you're going to be left with just all white space and 2/3 of the sign,
I'm just going to make a comment.
which I'm
Knowing,
not qualified to.
knowing real estate signs the way I do, at some point in time, you'll have the sign. Underneath it, you're probably the broker's name and telephone number and the email address or telephone number, and that hanging and something else underneath it. It becomes billboardish. You have the holes on the bottom which allow for additional hanging.
Oh.
And that usually means that you're going to probably have something like the broker's name, whoever's representing the application. I would ask that you remove the Brown Harris Stevens at the top right hand and then just leave it as a clear white space for sale, a website, and telephone number.
And and what about the website?
You can, if it's either or, either you leave the website or you get rid of the Brown Harris Stevens.
You just have Brown Harris, because they have Brown Harris Stevens and the phone number.
Those are the discretions.
Are you suggesting to move this up then?
We're not telling you what to do.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we are.
Well,
Yes,
we are, yeah. And
We're saying we think the sign looks busy. That's
Yeah.
the concern.
I think it's dramatic if you have the for sale sign, just the way it is, just next to the right-hand corner. I know that's...
Respectfully, I don't see how this is busier than, we have the company name, for sale, a website, and a phone number. How
Well,
else?
we're ignoring the BHS on the side, which is another graphic.
It's,
There's,
beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I do think
it's not one board member saying
yeah.
one individual single thing. It's multiple board members saying kind of the same. So it's going to take a whole lot to probably persuade at least 3 to get your approval. I don't know if corporately this is something that you're etched in, if it's something you have to do from a corporate standpoint. I know that given corporate signs, if you went back to corporate and said, well, we can't get it this way, we have to change it because the village won't allow us, that doesn't mean you're not going to have a sign. You're going to make sure they make the changes necessary so they can advertise their company.
The prior sign had the company name and website and phone number, all this same information. I think the issue is with the colors.
No, colors are, they're neutral colors. You're black and white and red. I don't think the problem's the colors itself. I think it's just the multiple times that you're advertising Brown Harris Stevens. Just seems to be redundant.
It's the same amount of times as the last sign.
You can continue to go back and forth, or you can maybe go back to the corporate and see what you can do, but I don't think that the board's going to change their mind. We'll go to the public comment next.
I'm just wondering if we're...
Any public comment on the application? They just want to get the application.
Yeah, they're on to the next thing.
Okay, so can you succinctly, just exactly what, is it removing this and suggesting to move this up?
We're suggesting that it's busy.
Yep.
That the redundant Brown Harris Stevens, the abbreviation and the website seems to be too much.
The abbreviation, I mean the letters on the left-hand side?
The abbreviation.
Yes.
If you could simplify it more, less Brown Harris Stevens, and if the sign just says Brown Harris Stevens, you're fine. If it has just the website, fine. I think when you start adding additional, the name additionally, this adds too much to the sign itself.
I think billboardish is really applicable here.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
So you're going to come back with a alteration or change or speak to corporate and see what they could do? And you're asking this board to adjourn so you can prepare yourself?
That's right.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the applicant's request to adjourn until our next meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant Brown Harris Stevens request to adjourn to our next meeting for the real estate
Motion
sign.
by Christina.
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor? Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Final sign application for me.
Final sign application is for Tenet at 91 Main Street for a storefront sign, and I think also repainting related to the signage.
That's also an
Your name
addition.
for the record, please.
My name is Jesse Warren, and that's also an addition. That's our East Hampton sign, and we're going to use the same sign supplier and the same sign, just so you can see exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, what we have here is, is this the font? Because it looks like it's handwritten.
That's handwritten. That's why I included the addendum. That just has the dimensions.
We don't have that addendum,
It's,
so you would have to add that to the file.
So hand it to
If you hand it to
Anthony.
Sure.
So you're proposing two things. You're proposing a sign, and you also want to paint the building.
that's correct.
And it says dark blue. Do you have a sample of what that dark blue looks like?
I actually, I was coming to the next meeting for the certificate of appropriateness. at that meeting, I'll have the sample, but I would love to obviously, let the board know that it's coming. So that
I don't believe, I believe that that's part of a additional application, if, just so you know. Today would just be the sign.
Yes.
We would not be making any ruling or decision on the color itself. When you come in for the certificate of appropriateness, that will be part of the color decision.
Understood there. I'm hoping, I don't know if it's the right opportunity, but if there's any feedback from the board or any suggestions, I know it's in the historical district, there's this certificate
We
of
will talk about
appropriateness.
the sign. We're not going to give any feedback on the building or any painting.
Well, Curtis, would it not be, I for one would like to see a streetscape if he's going to paint the building.
The building's not coming before us right now.
Right, I know.
So when the building comes, several things what would happen. We'd have Zach come and do a report. We'll have,
Right, okay.
we'll have the sample and shows in the design what the color would look like. For right now, it's just a sign. I think the sign is very simple. I don't have any issues or challenge with the sign itself. Kind of like it. Looks a little.
Thank you.
Looks. It's the actual placard itself. The sign. What is it made of, or what's the material?
It's, well, it says, according to the graphics company, just says thick single-sided sign, custom painted sign, pin mount letters.
Is it wood? Is it composite? What type of material?
I don't know. I don't think it's wood. I believe it's some type of composite.
Okay. Need a little bit more detail. Do you have something from the company?
Yeah, I believe I might have included that with the application from Ocean
Very
Graphics.
few things, just the page.
I'll add this as well.
And will there be any additional signs, like any decals or anything on the window?
At this time, no. If so, we'll apply.
Do you see anything on the
It
other?
doesn't specify the material. It doesn't. It's from Ocean Graphics, which does the number of signs, 3/4 inch thick. So it's probably an AZEK, but it could be wood.
He doesn't think it's wood, though. I think it's fine.
Painted.
It's fine.
White background, what the actual outline, is it brown or is it black?
It's black.
It's black. Okay, so it's black and white sign. Will there be any lanterns or lightings added to?
No.
Nothing. And no canopy, because I see a canopy here, so nothing?
No canopy.
And he already has a store with that. Is it the same sign?
It's the same sign. We're just going to reuse the sign.
Okay. No problem.
Thank you, guys.
It's a nice sign.
Anything further? Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign on Main Street for tenant.
Motion by Christina. Is
I
there a
second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor. Rob? Aye. Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I as well. Good luck.
Thank you.
That concludes our sign permits for this evening. We have written decisions. First application, council, 224 Great Plains Road.
We have 3 decisions this evening, all of which approve the applications, so you can use that as a format.
Okay.
Affirmative vote on the motion would therefore be to approve the application.
We'll start first with 224 Great Plains Road. Is there a motion to approve written decision by council?
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by council for 224 Great Plains Road.
Motion by Christina. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor. Rob? Aye. Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I as well. I may have you come in and sign this for us. The building department on the plans room. Subsequently, we have written decision by council for 120 Elm Street. Motion to approve written decision by council.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by council for 120 Elm Street.
It's motion by Christina. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor? Jeff?
Aye.
Susan?
Nay.
Aye.
You made it second and you're voting no?
Oh, I can't do that, I guess. Never mind. Take my second away. Sorry, I was trying to move things along.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Second by Jeff. Standing on that motion, second by Jeff. Just a correction, please. Jeff, motion approved.
Aye.
Susan, will you
Nay.
nay? Christina?
Aye.
Rob?
I'm a nay.
I'm an aye. Application approved. I'm scared. And motion for approved written decision by council for 20 Meadow Lane.
Make a motion to approve the written decision on 20 Meadow Lane.
Motion by Rob, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Susan. All in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. For 72 is closed until June 11th, 2018. We stand on that closed application. We have driveway gates for non-historic. First application, non-historic.
This application is for 81 Downs Path.
What you're submitting now, are there any changes from what's currently in file?
No, the plans were updated last week.
You updated last week.
And Matthew LeBrake.
Your name for the record?
Hassan Guy.
Matthew LeBrake. The last page is the proposed driveway gate. The others are precedent images of the area.
So this has been updated. Looks like it was previously solid.
Correct.
The first 2 feet or so on each side.
Do you know what the percentage of transparency is?
I believe it's 51%. That should be on the plans as well.
Is there any reason why you had photos of the other gates? Is this a streetscape?
Just in case it came up as far as precedents for the...
And the post, there seems to be down-pointing lanterns?
Correct.
All right. And there's any projected lanterns going to the gate at all?
Nope.
The posts, with the material of the post that they're currently?
White painted stucco.
And the actual gate itself is?
Alaskan yellow cedar, I believe.
You have a copy or sample of that here?
Yes.
And you have a sample of the color as well?
Yes, I believe it's Snow White or White Snowfall.
That's the stucco?
Correct.
Is that the same as the house?
Correct.
Susan, comments?
No.
Jeff?
I think it's an interesting gate that fits the style of the house. So I'm approved.
Rob?
Yeah. No, and I appreciate the addition of the additional open space on the sides. That was my one concern of the previous design, so no concerns.
Christina?
No, I think
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the driveway gates for 81 Downs Pond.
The motion by Christina, is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan, all in favor, Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
And I as well. Good luck.
Thank you.
Can I get any of that?
You want this stuff? No, this is
They don't need it.
Okay.
All right, we have next, concludes our non-historic gates. We have one historic application for driveway gate. Call for the application.
This is an application for Jovan Todorovic at 109 Elm Street. Do you have an affidavit of posting?
Jovan Todorovic.
I don't see an affidavit of posting in there. I see the mailing affidavit, but not the posting. It's not folded up in the bottom.
Sorry?
It's not folded up in the bottom of the envelope. It's written on.
Who submitted your documentation?
I did, personally.
Good. So we have your disclosure affidavit. We have your public hearing for, but we don't have your affidavit of posting. We have your affidavit of mailing.
Posting for,
Okay, so
Did you put a sign on the property? There is a
Yes, I
sign.
did.
There's a sign.
yeah.
Did you fill out an affidavit that you did that?
Oh, and they told me just 10 days before
we
here.
have no jurisdiction on the application if it's not in file. We would have to have a copy of the actual posting in file. And what it does is you're basically authenticating that you've done the proper posting on property, even though it's there.
Yeah, I know, but they told me they gave it to me when I filed, and they said that 10 days prior you have to post it, and I did post. I didn't know that.
But they would have given you an additional affidavit basically for you to sign.
No, I didn't have a. I had only to mail. They give me the mail the neighbors. That's all.
I would go back to the building department tomorrow. Unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction to look at the application without it being complete. Sorry.
But he doesn't have to read.
So you only need after the posting that I posted on.
We need an affidavit that basically what you're stating is you're affirming that you properly mailed, which you have that.
Yes.
And then there's a posting that you properly posted it on site. We don't have that second portion of it. So therefore, we don't have jurisdiction.
What do you need, a photograph or?
We need
It's a form.
It's a form.
It's just like the affidavit
Did
of
you not submit an
mailing.
affidavit of posting?
Of mailing.
Of mailing, okay. Well, isn't it logical that if he knew enough to do that, that he would have had the same
They-
procedure for?
They sent me this, but
I would, just so for clarification, I would go back to the building department. I will also be there tomorrow morning, let them know that we did not have that, but you need to get a copy of the actual affidavit of
and
posting.
then I have to wait now
Yes.
another month, 2 weeks.
Well, we don't have a meeting for June
June
11th.
11th.
So June 11th is our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay? Sorry about that.
I hope.
If you leave here now and find it somewhere in your car or somewhere at home, come back as quick as possible. Unfortunately, we have no jurisdiction to review the application.
What does he have to?
Okay, but I know they didn't give me anything. That's only the poster. I can bring a photograph where I'm disclosed.
We saw your poster, but you have to swear it.
You have to legally document that you did that, which is the affidavit.
This is your affidavit of mailing. There's a form very much like this. It says affidavit of posting up top that
Okay.
they should have given to you and that needs to be
I
signed.
will look at it. If I find, I will be back.
Okay? Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, it's coming back.
Well, we don't have jurisdiction, so there's no open or closing this application. That concludes our historic gate applications. Now we have public hearing, non-historic. First application, please.
The first application, well, the one for 58 Roscoe Drive has been referred to the Board of Appeals, so the first open one, and actually the next application has been, it's adjourned until today. This is Robert McCabe and Joan Schacht.
But they've asked to be adjourned.
No,
That's
for
That's a
today.
different one.
Oh, no, but didn't they send a,
Is the applicant present? Is there an
Did you send a
additional
letter?
request for adjournment?
I thought there was an
These are
additional,
the people that think they don't have to come, so they don't.
it was one
I just can't find the
line.
file. Sorry, give me just a moment.
Well, McCabe's right there.
Give me a
It's right-
moment, sorry.
It's right in front of you.
Yep.
File, yep.
Yeah, there it is, thank you. It's one that was out of order. This is...
Any additional letters for request for adjournment?
They haven't added
Applicant's not present?
There's no additional materials.
No.
We need a letter requesting additional information on this application.
We already asked for that?
Yeah, we
Well,
already
they've
sent
asked
them a
for-
letter.
They've asked for adjournment until today.
Oh, okay.
Today's here. They're
And
not
then
here.
they're not
And
here.
there's no further request
Okay,
for
I hear
adjournment. So we'll adjourn. We need to get more clarification on what's going on with the application. This time, unfortunately, if we don't hear anything by the June 11th meeting, I think we can have it removed from the, removed from the agenda.
Wait and see what
Without
happens.
prejudice. Write down motion to adjourn the application.
I make a motion to adjourn the application at 100 Pulaski Street.
Motion by Rob, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Christina. Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan? Jeff?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Next application, also adjourned until today.
Oh, when did those plans come in?
31?
Mineral Place.
Yes.
31.
Yes, for the applicant, John Bennett, and Andy Giambertone, who's the project
Information you're
architect.
submitting now, is it different from what we have in class?
Could you give the man's name again? You dropped your voice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Andrew Giambertone is the project architect. So I was retained, and John Bennett, I was
Just for clarification, this information is different from what we already had in file?
Yes, yes, it is. And we're trying to respond to board comments. So I was retained after the initial application and the initial public hearing. I viewed the video of the hearing. I spoke to Andrew, who I've worked with for many years, both in the village and the town, and we spoke to the client as well.
This is first time.
And so what we're here to talk to the board about is the comments, our response to the comments that were made at the last hearing. What is off to the, I guess it's your right, okay, my left, your right.
North, south, east, west?
Was the original, this
John,
is
give
the,
us north, south, east, or west.
this would be the east elevation, the front. This is what was originally proposed, and what you see here is a response to the board comments. So now, we have some revised plans. I'm going to let Andy take you through them, but a couple things I wanted to point out regarding items that were either concerns of the board's that we've changed, or will provide you precedent for a few of the items that the board had questions about. So the first item that, in reviewing the video, I saw that the board had questions about were these dormers generally over the entrance, and there was a concern about the fact that they're not all the same. You have two gable dormers and then a radius, as it were, window over the dormer that's closely aligned on top of the actual entrance. And I was looking at it, and it somehow seemed familiar. When I say familiar, not because I just seen it in this elevation, but that I had seen it in the past somehow. And so what I did was I hit the books and the village records, and I knew I'd seen it before, and sure enough, I was able to find a number of precedent for it. So let me show you those. The one precedent that I found, which is in the Scully's shingle style and stick style, which is sort of the Bible for shingle style. Oh, and before I forget, this is not in the historic district, and it's on a private road. But there's the Taylor House in Newport, which I'll give you copies of this, has the, let me put one down, has that same configuration of the two gable and then the arched windows. This is in Newport, Rhode Island, but it's a classic shingle style house. And then it still seemed familiar, and I felt like there was some local presence of it. So what we did find, I found two incidents. of it. One in a contributing structure in the village, well, actually two contributing structures in the village. One is on Halsey Neck, and I don't know who owns the house now, but it used to be owned by Richard Mortimer. I think the brothers lived together. Not together, they lived side by side on Halsey Neck. One, I don't know who owns this house now. The other one became Claverack, owned by Ann Eisenhower for a while. She no longer owns it. But in any event, this is the house to the south, the contributing structure. I'm handing you I'm supposed to be keeping this one. I'm sorry. I'm handing you the copies. But again, you'll see that configuration of the, you see the configuration of the two gabled dormers with the arched or radius on the top, and that's a contributing structure. But then, interestingly enough, that very house was later somewhat altered, but not greatly altered, in design. I think the architect's name was Murray, and here's a photograph of that very house on Halsey Neck, which was altered. And I think it's important because you'll see that the railing that was picked up on that housing, on that house, was the very similar type of railing to the railing that's being proposed on Mr. Giambertone's drawing. So, again, in terms of precedent, we were able to find some fairly solid precedent for that. Then, in addition to that, although not exactly, well, it's essentially the same concept where you have this is from the houses of the Kinmead and White. It's the Samuel Parish house. And again, what you'll find on that is you'll have the two dormers, and then the dormer with a sort of radius, almost like a Chippendale top on it. And why? Because it accentuates the entrance. So that's why the differentiation. So that's important.
This is
the most significant changes probably, and these again are as a result of listening to the board, were the changes near the garage.
I'll say this just because, just to address those comments, I will say this, and I see you have examples of the difference in these in the various dormers. The only difference we see, though, is that the roof lines in all of these are either hip roofs. They don't have front reverse gables, but returns and brackets above. So it makes it look. What we were discussing is it was very busy.
It's no different.
Those are dental.
On the old Mortimer house, you have reverse gables on the front. You have another. That's not the case.
But the fenestration on those houses is much simpler. Those houses are simpler. And our complaint was that this house was busy, which is...
Okay, so well, let me finish the presentation, and I think you'll agree that we did moved quite along in terms of that. So, I think probably one of the largest concerns was this over the garage, which the facade on the garage has what I would call a true Palladian or Serlian window, which has the arched or curved window flanked by the two rectangular windows. So that's been removed. Where is it? That's been removed and replaced solely with an arched or radius window. And we've removed this lattice, the larger door, so that now there's solely a man door in that area. Also, not only and then in what's left of the arched window, there was Gothic attributes to that window. So the idea was to bring it down to, although it's attached, more of an accessory look, because after all, it is the garage. So then what I was looking at were inspiration for a standalone arched window, because usually when you see them, or oftentimes when you see them, they're a true Palladian window, which has the rectangular windows on either side. And again, we saw precedent for that. I think you can find it in the handout that I gave you of the couple of places. Hold on a second. handout we gave you of the handout I gave you of the Scully book, which again shows standalone arched or rounded windows without the flanking Palladian windows. That's on one page of the Scully book. And again, this is the shingle style. And then also on the handout that I gave you of the houses of McKim, Mead, and White, on the third page, you'll see there you have grouped Sterling windows. Well, I guess, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm just going to call them rounded or arch windows because if you look at some architectural literature, to be a true Palladian or Sterling window, you have to have the flanking rectangular windows. So, but here you have grouped arch windows in a shingle-style design. So, not only did we find significant precedent for that, but most important, what we did was we tried to take away some of the more main house parts of the garage area and simplify it, which I think you'll agree we've accomplished quite handily if you compare that to that. Then there was some question about the cupola, which we looked at, and what we've done is we've taken it down, and Andy will show you that we've reduced the height of it and the width of it. But it's an important feature because what we're trying to do is articulate and distinguish the garage from the house proper. So it articulates the center line of the garage in order to distinguish it. And we also, you can't have it too squat or too short because then it simply looks too squat. You're looking up at it. But we did nevertheless listen to what you said and reduce it. Just one last thing before
reduce. Is there a size?
We'll show you. We'll show, I'm going to have Andy present that. And then just before I let Andy continue the presentation, we did get a letter of support from Klaus Mahler, who owns the property directly to the east. Just today, saying, I've had a chance to look at the drawings. The house looks beautiful.
Across the street. Across the street?
Across the street to the east. So he's on the east side. This is on the west side. Directly across the street is Klaus and Tiffany Mahler. So, Andy, why don't you
Sure.
talk about what we've done here?
I mean, considering the board's comments last time we met, we made several significant changes after meeting with the client. The one was that the chimney stack in the back porch, which was originally both stone and brick, was made consistent in just its brick detail, and the detail was simplified to eliminate the projecting crown molding detail at the top, which the board objected to. In addition, we eliminated this tall chimney pots from the chimney as well. On the main chimneys of the house, we did the same. We simplified the brick detailing, eliminating the cornice-like detail. We simplified the chimney pots, reduced those in height. We did greatly reduce the busyness, if you will, of the Palladian window at the garage. The cupola went from what was 6 foot 11 3/8 inches high and 5 foot 3 inches wide on the original application to what is now 3 foot 7 inches wide by 5 foot 1 1/8 inch high. So it's been significantly reduced in size. We went from 6 foot to 5 foot 1. It went from 7 foot to 5 foot 1.
And we also removed the weather vane.
Right. On the original,
So the original was 7 foot.
7 foot, right. It was 6 foot 11 3/8.
But that's including the weather vane.
That was without the weather vane.
Without the weather vane.
Weather vane was in addition to that. We took what was intended to just be a decorative element in the carriage house door on the front of the building and eliminated it to just simply be a man door. And we've simplified the grill configuration of the windows in the dormers above the main roof, and hope that we could accommodate the board's request in doing so.
We also took a look at some other approved, what I'm going to give you is copies of approved homes on the lot 6, 7, and 9 on the Old Town subdivision, which similar to this area has is on a private road. And if the architecture looks familiar, it's because Mr. Giambiatone was the architect. And you'll see there was approvals of very similar. The lot number 9 was the inspiration, but clearly on a much more reduced scale. But it has many of the varying architectural details that have actually been eliminated on this. It also has a cupola. So that's the first of the Old Town houses.
Has this been changed also, that roof line? I'm sorry?
Has this roof line been changed? This appears to come out square.
That was changed from a gable end to a hip roof, yes.
So you put the gable on
Yeah, I
this.
think that balances that in better.
Yeah. I spoke to the client late this afternoon, and although we had submitted these plans, and I know there's some confusion about the rendering the last time we presented it, I asked them if they'd be willing to acquiesce on the design of the railing at the front, and they were willing to do so. So I've modified the rendering to reflect everything you see here, save for the railing, which has been simplified, and I can present that.
Why don't we show that? Because I think when you see it in the rendering, you'll see it's actually a much simpler looking house.
You can lay it flat.
So this eliminates the Chippendale detail at the railing at the front portico. It has everything else that's presented in this drawing here, the reduced size cupola, the simplified windows, the brick chimneys, the clipped gable end, the elimination of the carriage house door. So it's, and I think because when you see it in three-dimensional reality, as opposed to the elevation.
Which is the reason why we asked for color renderings.
I think it looks significantly more simple.
Well, this definitely is softened more than it's one-dimensional.
And also, understand, the only thing that maybe suggests, Zach?
Oh, I'm sorry.
The only thing that doesn't accurately portray, I think, is the cupola is actually well under the ridgeline of the house proper. Again, the whole idea is to make that look, the whole idea is to make that, although it's attached, make it look like an accessory structure, which is why the cupola is there. Typically, you would see that on accessory structures for light and ventilation, and it does create a center line, and it does distinguish it from the house proper. So it's a thought-out thing, and not unlike applications that this board has approved in other non-historic areas, but nevertheless for designs trying to keep within the cottage style genre.
I appreciate the clip gable. I think it takes away some of the massness. Definitely doing away of all of the detail of that Chippendale balcony, which is decorative anyway, kind of cleans it a lot more, of which in the one-dimensional looked very, very busy. It's a cleaner look for the color rendering than we've seen, and I appreciate you doing so.
Yeah, I was immediately looked at that and said, that really shows the house a lot more true. It doesn't look, for lack of better words, it just doesn't look anywhere near as complex. It looks a lot simpler.
Jeff, you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, the color rendering helps. So going from left on that, left facing the garage, so big improvement in terms of the doors and the window on top. Cupola is still, and maybe it's the rendering, but still seems to stand out a bit. A reduction from 7 feet to 5 feet is about a 20% reduction. Could it be more? I don't know. We'll hear comments from the other folks.
We can take a foot off it, I'm sure.
I appreciate taking off the chimney caps. That looks much better. That was on the hit list. And then the fenestration over the gables, did we have issues with the cross members?
Yes, up here it was changed.
Well, yeah, well, I know there was a concern about the center eyebrow.
The oval?
No, not eyebrow, the oval.
The half-round gable.
On the microphone.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's not necessarily an issue for me. To me, it breaks up some of the symmetry. I don't know what the other folks...
It's also trying to center the...
Right, no, I understand what you're doing.
It's a common thing.
Yeah, well,
No, it is, yeah.
yeah, well, to some extent, actually, the fact that you presented a half a dozen precedents of half a dozen houses...
That's a good thing.
Well, but it doesn't speak to the fact, it doesn't make it less busy, and it speaks to the fact that if you're picking up pieces from 6 other houses and 6 other styles...
Oh, no, that's not what we're doing. And
I know that wasn't your intent.
That's not what we're doing, and I don't think that's a fair characterization, Jeff.
Well...
Okay. That's a very classic manner of having 3 gables, but centering and differentiating the one over the entrance.
Well, the issue from February 26 was calming the house down, and you've done that, so take a yes when you can. And, you know, it's a matter of taste on my part, but the treatment that's right centered there, the arched windows, I don't know if that's a concern to the other folks or not. So anyway, I'm okay with the left side of the house. I'd like to hear what the board thinks on the fenestration and the arched windows, the vaulted windows above the front door.
Susan, any comments?
This is the first, this is just being introduced right this second tonight? Yeah. Okay, well, I have nothing to say then, I need to think about it.
Okay.
Christina?
I think you made some good changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rob?
Couple quick questions. I just want to be sure I'm seeing this right. These brackets are new, is that right, under the eaves of the garage?
Actually, they were there on the original.
Okay, I didn't see it it's not on this rendering.
But they were on the original.
Okay. A couple questions. Is this a functioning door?
No.
It's not. Is there hardware on it? What am I seeing on the left side of there?
There's intended to be hardware to emulate a door, but it's really just a window in the garage.
All right. Just wanted to clarify that. I also am confused by one thing. I'm not seeing a roof line out here past this chimney, but if I look at the rear elevation, I should be seeing the end of this roof line on the back.
You actually on the other side.
I'm sorry, that's the front of the house. Okay, so, but
it's there. It's just beyond. You're talking about where the tree is here.
Yes.
That roof line does exist. It's because of the perspective that the view is taken from. It's less apparent.
Okay.
But it is there.
It's there. Okay.
You actually
I see it a little bit.
You see the shading. You see how they shaded the end.
Okay. I appreciate the simplifications. I think, I appreciate, John, that you went through many of the elements, but I think it was just a combination of things like the diamond windows in the top of the very top dormer, the center top dormer, that came across as gilding a lily, or whatever you might want to call it, a little busy.
Right.
I'm still, the one thing that throws me is the size of the window still here on the front of the garage. It is an accessory structure. It still also has the largest window on the house, maybe equal in size. But, so that wouldn't be my choice, but I appreciate all the other changes that have been made. It seems simpler.
Thank you.
Jeff made a comment with regards to the window just above the front entryway, the oval windows with the diamond panes. Do you have issue with the windows as currently proposed? I think the panelization, I think it brings the presentation to basically it brings the center of the structure there. You can focus your eye there. And,
Is this what he's talking about?
yeah, these here.
That's the idea.
Just see the panelization here with the arch window.
And here's the precedent. That's a McKim White design.
It's fine. You have the windows with the cupola looks a little churchy, but that's a design and style. Well, it kind of does, but I like the bracketing. I think you calmed the house down. It was very loud. It was really busy. I think you calmed it down. It looks a lot better in color than it did. I'm glad you took care of ornate chimneys, which basically showed and demonstrated you wanted a massive home, you want a grand home. You were showing that and showing that on the original plan. I think you still achieved that, but it's cleaner.
Thank you.
Any public comment on the application? Anything further of the board? Any changes, any issues? I think we're pretty much in agreement that the house is proposed now is a lot better than the original. And
There was also a letter submitted to the file subsequently by, I believe, after our last meeting by a neighbor. My reading of that letter indicated that there wasn't an architectural issue for this board. It was more setback and zoning issues and maybe some screening issues. I just want to note that the letter's there, and I don't know if the...
Well, screening is an issue that we can discuss if you feel that there's a need to have a landscape plan. Just understood, the landscape plans are usually typically are requested if there are visual issues, or privacy issues, if there impact. This board thinks it needs to have a more detailed landscape plan on what's being proposed, what's being added. Do you have any issues with the application? Are you looking for additional landscape plan or additional landscape plan, or at least a explanation of what's being proposed?
Not on that lot, on that property.
I think the amount of detail you're doing to the house, of course, you're going to end it or complete it with
Substantial
landscaping, excessive landscaping, and I don't have an issue with that. Will there be any driveway gates or anything proposed on this?
No.
Okay, and not down the road or anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Well, can I just say that these plans, no one except us have been able to see it. It wasn't even in the file today.
Okay.
So the idea of taking a vote without letting the public see the plans is not...
The plans were dropped, pardon me. We, on Friday, a full-size set of plans that represents what you have in your packet was submitted here to the village after a substantial traffic jam on the Long Island Expressway.
Well, I'm sure.
And so they were brought here on Friday afternoon.
But that's still not enough time, I'm sorry.
Well, you know, if
this
someone's
is a public
truly
meeting.
interested
The
in
public has a right to
they
this.
keep, well, they're not being...
They don't know to. It's been adjourned.
They should.
I didn't know. I've been in the
They
building
should.
department today, and I've just been presented with this. I haven't
A
seen
board member mentioned that the public had not had the opportunity, really ample opportunity to look at the file.
Well, can we see if there's anyone here from the public?
I asked if there was a public comment. There were no public comments on the application. I don't believe there was anyone present at the last meeting either. Comment.
And I think it's incumbent on someone if they're interested.
However, if...
No one, including the architect.
If I can finish. Board members, do you think that we just received the plans this evening? Public had not had the opportunity. There were no public comments at the last meeting. However, do you think that the community should have the opportunity to see the files complete prior to making a vote? Rob?
I mean, it was on the agenda for tonight. They could have been here, so I don't believe, and there weren't comments or letters afterwards on the architecture of the previous plans. So I don't believe that we need to hold off. I appreciate Susan's concerns, but I think the public has had a right to hear.
Christine?
I agree.
Jeff?
I support Susan on the timeliness and requirement for timeliness of submissions. In this case, going back to my notes on February 26th, the only public representative was this person, Gabrielle or whatever.
I was trying to hear.
Oh, the only representation of public concern on the February 26th meeting was a person from 126 Meadowmere talking about the screening, not the architecture. So given that, and the multiple times this has been on the agenda, and the fact that there have been no FOIL requests or any information requests, I see no reason why we can't proceed.
Last meeting, we had a busier application. It was clean. There was no objection at the last meeting, so I don't think there would be any of this moving forward. So I don't, again, procedurally speaking, yes, the file, we should have the information in sooner. However, when we have applications that don't propose any issue and have not had a pre-existing issue, I think we can move forward. Therefore, is there a motion to approve?
Just one.
See if there's anyone here from the public.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
On the cupola, I mean, is that an issue for you guys in terms of it being 5 feet versus 4 feet? Andrew was willing to lower it down a foot.
We represented will lower it to a foot, to 4 foot.
I mean, is that an issue? Would
I
that
want
make
you
it
to
less
mark-
churchy?
Doesn't make it less churchy. But if I give you a file, you're the architect on the
Yes.
file, correct? I'll give you mark it there that you're going to reduce it, you'll give the height on it.
Appreciate it, thank you.
So the plans that you submitted were given to the file on what date? Received?
Friday afternoon, what was the?
11th. Thank you.
May 11th?
Yes.
Are they stamped?
Yes, they are.
With what date?
May 11th. I need your help with passing that to the architect and make his name.
I'm just going to make a change on it and initial it. Does that work, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. Make the change on the cupola then. And initial it.
This is the old application.
That's fine. I feel it.
I'll turn it down on higher if I can.
And he says they can't hear. That's why we can't do that. Oh, now you turned it
I'll
off.
put it back to you.
So Mark.
One of these, this is the old.
This is the old file.
One of these plans was the old.
So we marked the new one that you gave us.
This is the new.
I'm not sure. Oh,
Want the other one?
New one.
Want them both marked?
Both of them.
I need two
sorry,
sets.
this is an old one I'm giving you.
A loft. Like they're replaced.
That's really Dutch. To be Dutch. They actually put the, had the building lean.
Yeah, it's freezing, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Well, just saying.
Can you come out?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve the application for case.
Motion by Christina, is there a second? I second. Second by Rob, all in favor, Rob? Aye. Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Nay.
Jeff? Aye. And I'm an aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So is this the one with the Jones? Aldridge? Yeah.
All right. Next application, please.
The next application for 149 Pelletreau Street, there's been a request to adjourn that. They are unable to attend.
All right. Is there a date given?
No, there's a
No,
letter
there's not a date
saying, but
given.
no date.
All right, so with the June 11th, motion would be to approve applicant's request to adjourn into a June 11th meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant Irene Aldridge on Pellet Street, request to adjourn to June 11th.
Motion by Christina, is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Susan, all in favor. Rob?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Excuse me, is that a new case?
Yeah.
No.
No, it's come up before.
Oh, no, I don't know.
Yes.
It's a second-story addition on a one
I think
and a
it
half
is
story
new.
house.
No, she
No,
was
it's
she was here last time.
This
It was it's a
was the
narrow
one that
lot.
had,
The front part, I got it.
very good. There's a recall, sorry, were you able to find?
Yeah, I just didn't notarize, but...
It's not notarized.
No.
You can get that notarized
I
tomorrow.
did, well, I did sign it, but
He could,
because you usually sign with
our
notary.
counsel says you can get it notarized tomorrow, so maybe we can make it conditional. Is that correct?
Yes. So just
give it
receive
to us.
that, please, Antoinette, and just note on it that it's received tonight, and then he can get that notarized tomorrow.
All right, but now
Did he sign it?
No, he should be signing in front of a notary.
You can acknowledge your signature in front of a notary.
Okay.
Now we need the file again.
So just note on it that it's presented this evening.
All right, let's recall the application.
Jovan Todorovich, 109 Elm Street, driveway gates.
Yes.
Historic.
All right, sir, explain your driveway gates, the material, the spacing.
It's going to be wood, white gates.
White painted wood?
Yeah.
Okay. What's
It doesn't say that.
What does it say?
Metal gate.
Metal
painted
gate
black.
painted black.
Well, no, I need a column. That columns are going to be wood, the column.
The columns of wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Column.
The gate is
Gate is black.
The gate is going to be on the road, it's going to be black, yeah, metal.
What's the spacing between them? What is the space?
It says there, I think.
Can you say it for the record, sir?
It's 51%, I think it's,
Transparency is 51%.
yes,
Is there any lighting on top of the pillars?
Yes.
It is. That's the dome that's there?
yeah, it's going to be the clear, but we're going to find the lamps. I'm not sure whether they're going to be round or it's going to be just the traditional lamps.
Well, we would need to know what light, lantern, we need to know the style, if it's frosted, not frosted, wattage, we need to know that if you want this approval with the lighting scheme.
It's going to be, it's not going to be frosted.
It's not, so you're going to have a dome, not frosted, so a clear
Yes, clear
dome.
glass, yeah.
Yeah, I would have a problem with that.
Yeah?
I think it would, me personally, I think it would be extremely bright and it would, we don't normally typically allow such a large wattage of lighting.
I can put any lights you would approve.
We want you to present your application to us, so you are presenting what you want to put on as part of the plan itself.
And I'm
So
going to just use a frosted glass and then put a light.
you say, so it's the dome, but it'll be frosted.
Yes.
You know the wattage of light that's going to be inside? Are you using 30, 15, 20?
30 probably watts.
30 watts?
Yes.
The frosted. One bulb, two
One
bulbs?
bulb on each pole.
All right. And the panelization, so there's a panel there, it's white wood.
White wood, it's going to match the house for which it inside also. Exactly as in drawing there with same style.
On the site plan, this is some confusion of where these gates are.
With the little moldings here, whatever the
Just behind the hedge.
Yeah.
Who penciled in your driveway gates here? Is the architect?
Yes.
Landscape?
Architect.
I'm sorry?
The same architect who did the house.
Same architect who did the house penciled in the
Yeah.
setbacks for the...
Yes.
So, Rob, you have questions?
This is a neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of driveway gates to compare it to, so it's hard to look at the context of these gates versus other nearby gates. And I have a concern about the black painted metal. It seems to me a slightly modern touch in the historic district to have black painted metal, not decorative, but just plain square form metal. Painted black feels a little modern or a little industrial. It doesn't seem to me to go well with the house. So, I like the panelization and the posts. I think those are good looking. And if it were low lighting, I wouldn't have a problem with the lighting as you've described it, but I do have a problem with the material.
I did have an alternative plan, but I didn't submit this. It was a second that all wooden fence, same.
So same design?
Yeah, same design, but this one is unreal. It's a metal which would be hidden behind the privets. It would be open and you don't see the gates. Only when I want to close, if I'm not in the house there, then I would close it.
So in order to have the rigidity for one panel, it needs to be of metal.
Yeah, so that's why. But I don't mind them to keep it white too, but instead black. I'm open to the suggestion. He suggested black.
I'll say that black gates typically blend in, so it wouldn't be such a impact. You say, as you stated, and so correctly stated, Elm Street doesn't have a number of driveway gates. I don't recall there being any.
There are approximately, I'll give you some numbers, if you since you didn't ask. There are 60 houses on Elm Street, maybe 57 if my count may be off a little bit.
Yeah.
There are only 3 gates. One is towards the village, and it's about 50 feet back from the road. And it's just metals, and it's probably about 90% open, thank you. And it's not visible from the road. The other one is at the other end, near the railroad station, which is a chain link fence on a very small house right next to the parking lot, from across from the Polish Hall. And then there is one other, which is also sort of permanently affixed. There's a reason you don't see other gates in the area, because there have been no gates in that area. It's in a historic district. It is an historic neighborhood. And I'm sure if Zach were to delve into the history of Elm Street, you would see that it was an open street. Towards the village, there were grander houses or larger houses, and then as you got towards the station, there were houses of working people, and it was an open avenue. It was an open street. Gates of any sort, in my opinion, are incongruous with that neighborhood as it exists, as it was intended. So unless your gate was 50 feet back and in line with the front of the house, I would not approve it. I think we have an obligation to maintain the historic nature of Elm Street. I think we have a responsibility to keep what is an open neighborhood and view open. When gates come in, it closes it out, whether that's your intent or not. It gives the feeling, especially coming from the railroad station, we're going to have gates upon gates, and we'll look like a gated community. I think it's wrong, and it's not going to get my vote.
What about the balls, light balls?
Forget about the bulbs. The bulbs are...
No, poles. I'm saying not to have a gates, just to have a light poles.
Well, if you want posts, there are about another probably 3 or 4 houses that have posts that are diminutive. When I say diminutive, I don't mean 2-foot posts. I mean no more than 10 to 12 inches that blend into the hedges. Now, if you want that, then why do you want gates? And you say your argument is that you want to have gates for security. So is it look? Is it security?
It's not security. It's about the deers that are coming in eating all my flower shrubs and
You know
everything.
what you need for deer? I suggest, and this happens often, and it's a bit of a pet peeve, people come in here looking to prevent deer from coming in. You need an 8-foot fence around your entire property. That's the only thing that, according to the Cornell Extension Program, keeps deers out of property.
Yeah, we're not proposing you do that. So the record reflects, understand that you as an applicant have the right to have and to propose a driveway gate on your lot. I just want to let you know that there's no prohibition, as it states right now in the code, that says you do not have a right to a gate. We are looking at it from an architectural standpoint. We've had some viewpoints on where they're acceptable. I've even in the past have had the same view, and I still have the same view, but as a responsive member of this board, I have to adhere to my responsibility and my within the code what I'm able and capable to enforce. And unfortunately, as much as I would want to tell you you can't have one, because I don't believe that that's the community that should have one, I can't tell you you shouldn't. That's something legislatively that we would have to change in order for us to
Just
enforce it.
so that there's two houses closer to the village. On the left, they have gates. They have in the front the gates, and
Right.
also
And one of them, like I said, is 50 feet back from the road. If you want to put your gate 40 feet back from the road, like I said, I wasn't saying you couldn't have a gate, but if you want to have a gate to get my vote, then it would have to be like that gate towards, as you were mentioning, which if you look at it, it's
even with the house,
it's like 40 feet back, and it is, I don't know what you call them, like metal, not even columns,
I understand that.
and it's 90%.
But I have to look at also aesthetic of the house. I cannot just slap the gate somewhere in a...
Susan, you have any additional comments?
No.
1 second. Christina, do you have any additional
No.
comments? Jeff, do you have, Rob, do you have any additional comments?
I don't. Taking off my ARB hat just for a second, I would let you know this fence is not going to keep deer out. And people I know who put gates in to keep deer out that don't keep them out then have the problem that deer get in and
they can't get
out or don't get out as easily. So if that's your intent and that's why you're spending this money, as a fellow village resident, I would say reconsider. But
What about the columns with lights on top?
Are you on your own merit retracting the driveway gate?
If we decide, like, I understand, but,
But you're making that distinction.
Yes.
This board's not telling you not to have a driveway gate.
Yes,
Just want to make
just
sure
to
you
have
understand. So if you wanted to discuss just the columns with the light on top?
Yes.
I would still want it either frosted or diminished. I want to know
no,
exactly.
there will be, same what we talked about light, just minimum light that, when you drive, you can see where the entrance is in the dark.
Is that what you want to propose?
Yeah.
Then, board members, do you have any questions or issues with
but doesn't he
it?
have
We
to
don't
come
know
back
what
with
the
a plan?
light is.
He's proposing the dome, correct?
Yeah,
Frosted.
same what we have on the same
So the
step.
dome with just a small...
Just no gates, just light on top,
Well,
yeah.
let's take a look at the columns now. No.
I don't think lights,
No, not in the historic district. There are no lights on that street at all.
posts, fine, marking the entrance.
Okay,
Not this, and the lights.
say it out loud, though. Zach, what do you think?
I'm a little concerned about globes surmounting the posts. You know, it seems to me that paneled posts marking the entranceway is
It's not
is a
historic.
minimal departure.
So
But to
we're talking
surmount-
something with regards to architecturally.
Yeah, just to be
design.
harmonious in that.
So we understand, there's no prohibition for any type of lighting on pillars or in the posts.
Not generally speaking, but I feel that in that neighborhood, in the scale of the houses and the size
So
of the
maybe a
properties,
design that's a little
it's to estate-like.
So
to
something a
have
little bit more down, toned down.
Gate.
If you're looking to have a marker where the driveway entrances, maybe you can come up with another design.
This is 1 foot, right?
The width of.
Okay, now that diagram has it at a foot and a half.
Okay.
So if you made it 1 foot,
Yeah.
so you've got to change the column to 1 foot, nix the globes. And
If
then-
that's something,
then
that
we
would just
get
be
our
my
vote.
If
suggestion.
you're going to
I
have
think
any
that's not-
lighting, diminish it, not so grand, not so stated. Make sure that you have some information on what the actual wattage will be on the, if you're proposing that. If you're eliminating it all, we want detail in terms of the actual post itself.
Okay, I'm gonna bring details that I do want to have a substantial post. I don't want just narrow little post there. I want it because I built the house, I want something that goes well with the house. Same thing has to be foot minimum or 14 inches. Something, I can go light on the side, in the front, like houses, same lights.
Pointing down.
Yeah, not on top, I can do that. But I need something to,
Now, from a design standpoint,
Yes.
it sounds like something that would be favorable. You would have to come back with a new design to show
Okay.
that.
All right.
Is there any public comment on the application? Zach, anything further, because it is in the historic district.
I'm sorry.
It is in.
Yes.
Okay, any
No.
other comments, anything else from the
No.
board?
No.
So you're going to prepare yourself, you're going to have another rendering, also go to the building department just to make sure that your posting was properly notarized? but right now you're asking to adjourn the application to prepare yourself. Correct?
And then you would bring, if you're having a light, they sometimes show from like the actual, out of the book. Yes,
Well,
thank
I
you.
have lights on the house, I would use same, but if I'm gonna use in the
Okay.
front, I'm gonna use same.
Well, we'd love to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the applicant's request to adjourn.
Confusion.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant at 109 Elm Street, Jovan Todorovic, request to adjourn to our next meeting.
I second the motion.
Motion by Christina, second by Susan. All in favor? Rob?
Aye.
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Susan? Jeff?
Aye.
And I'm an
Do
aye.
we have to notarize this?
Yes, this is actually a disclosure affidavit. What we need is what's called a posting affidavit.
He has it.
You gave it.
No, this is what he gave, and it's this disclosure affidavit. So,
You need the other thing.
Okay, Boston.
posting.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Affidavit of
go
posting.
then tomorrow and I'll get another one.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jovan.
Bye-bye.
Next application, non-historic.
Where were we?
Next application in the non-historic is 70 Johnny Lane, Michael Sanjabi. This is construction of a two-story single-family dwelling. This application has come back with some revisions, I believe.
Evening, my name is Sia Liu. I'm the architect for 70 Johnny Lane. Last time we presented this project, and the board has concern over this roof.
Oh, yeah.
That's in the front, and I changed into the wood roof. I raised the picture a little bit and changed it to the wood roof, and also put in the railings because the board requested that I put in the railing and to show what it looks like around the basement entry.
I think, Rob, you had the biggest concern about the railing in the doorway, and we also had challenges with the
Metal roof.
the metal roof in the front, which has now been changed. What's the pitch on that roof? You said you had to reduce the pitch?
No, I raised it.
Increase the pitch.
About 6.
6. All right. And it matches the roof above, correct? So all roof,
The roof on the top is a little bit higher.
I meant the material.
Oh, yeah, it's cedar.
Any other further questions, board members? No? Christina? Jeff?
No, I think that was the only thing we would ask Lucy to do.
Okay. Motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the application for Michael Sanjabi at 70 Johnny Lane.
Motion by Rob, second by Christina. All in favor? Rob? Aye. Christina?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
I'm an aye.